Hey, so the last couple videos I showed how to get data out of Robinhood as well as how to screen stocks once you found them or build a spreadsheet for that. For today's video, I wanted to show a quick, easy spreadsheet template of how to track what some of the largest investors in the world are doing. So for the four that I selected to put in here, which are also the four that I track personally, are Michael Burry, Warren Buffett, Bill Gates, and Charlie Munger. So if you're not familiar with Michael Burry, he is the character that is made most famous in The Big Short, having seen the housing crisis before everybody else in 2007. Also, more recently, he predicted GameStop's under evaluation, not necessarily a short squeeze part, but saw that coming a year and a half in advance. Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger, right and left hands of each other, are two of the best value investors the world's basically ever seen. And of course, Bill Gates, the world's richest man for much of my lifetime. So this is more or less an easy way to track some of the things they're buying and selling. Personally, this is a video for educational purposes. I'm not a financial advisor, although maybe point out a few things that I noticed when I built this spreadsheet. So this is more or less what the output is, and I'll walk through the formulas that get us there, but more or less wanted to start at where the beginning is and how to edit this template if you decide to end up using it. So first is this sheet here, which is the import DB, short for database, but more or less what this does is about to set up what's in this area, the great investors spreadsheet with these import HTMLs. So you'll notice this is all pulling in from Datorama, which is a site that follows all of these hedge funds that are managed by these 72 super investors. So for the purposes of this video, I'll add in Carl Icahn's hedge fund, another very, very famous investor. So what you'll want to do is copy that that URL, add it here, and then put whatever name you want for that individual. So icon. You'll notice this auto-populated. This is just a formula that has if this is blank, then blank, and then if not, then add whatever the max is here. If I were to delete Bill Gates, all of a sudden this one becomes 4, would kind of throw a wrench to the system, but this helps to populate the great investor sheet. So this is the main formula that's actually pulling in the data off of these websites. If you would notice, there's not a Carl icon on here yet. And how you add in different investors is you would go here, import HTML, and pop over here and go here. And this is just how HTML works. It goes table and then one. So the data that we're looking for is actually off the table in the first table off these websites. So essentially this is just saying, hey, pull in these areas and good to go from here. So add that in. Now it will reload if I actually had done this correctly. So you'll need the little bracket on the outside. That's what allows it to pull in multiple of these strings here and here. I accidentally put it on the inside. So if you scroll down here, you'll now see that Carl Icahn's portfolio is a part of this this larger database. From here, we just have a reg replace to basically get the ticker symbol out for the stocks. And then from there, this is just more or less getting the volume of what was added or reduced to their positions and then who the investor is. So this gets you your basic data table. So now once we're here, this is just summing if the investor is here. So you're getting to see what they added or took away. So Burry added a lot to his portfolio. Buffett and Gates both took a lot off the table. This is showing what the top 3 things they added were. So as a formula goes, if error, and this is mostly because, as you can see, like Charlie didn't actually sell anything, then it'll come up as a blank like you see here for Charlie. And then query, which is what pulls in the information, sort, which makes it so it's greatest to least, these different areas. So right next to each other, we're going to be pulling the last two columns off the other page. Filter I is blank, which will make sure that you're actually getting things that have tickers in them, and then greater than 0, so that it's not pulling anything negative if it's something like Bill where he's only bought one item. And then J, which is then using their last name, as you can see here, is matching. So you'll want to put whatever here that you have in column J. Now from there, that'll pull in all the information you have here. I will show one other thing, which is the conditional formatting. So you'll notice that this is saying if C4 is greater than 0, then make it green on these different areas, and then less than red. And then if you go over to the next one here, it'll say C's instead of B. You wouldn't be able to put it so that it's all one formula, unfortunately, because it's referencing the one next to it for these columns. Now I'll quickly show here. This is more or less the exact same formula, only this is switched. So instead of greater than is less than. It's written in a little different order. And then I didn't just talk about this in the last one, but the select asterisk limit 3 is what makes it so it's 3, so you don't end up with these big errors. And so this is just scaled across the way for each of them. And from there, I also pulled in this, which is saying query, same features below or above, and then filter. So this area, B through J. So right here to right here, because we don't need this little history tab that pulls in with it. And make sure I is blank. So what I being blank does remove these like history lines you see here. So it's just a little bit cleaner. And then you can filter here. So if you want to see, hey, what did Burry add or Burry do with his portfolio just exclusively, it'll just be here. And you can see he's added a number of more defensive stocks. D now happens to have almost no debt. Lumen Technology is a communication-based technology firm, so kind of similar to like an AT&T and Verizon. And then actually something that I saw was Molson Coors, which I was a big fan of. I looked into it after this and saw that it was actually trading below book value. I got in at a little bit more expensive than Burry at about, I think 52, and now it's trading at 60 2 weeks later. So I would say at least time value wise, pretty good investment. Also, the other one that stuck out to me is you'll hear Buffett and Munger not necessarily invest as much in technology firms, but Munger put a lot of money into Baba. After comparing Baba compared to what would be an equivalent security in Amazon, there's probably a good reason he put this money here. And so more or less is just this really good way of running through and looking and saying, hey, what did some of these really great investors buy recently or sell, and should I be looking further into those stocks? And this is actually really nice. It gives you like a rough reported value. You can see, hey, am I getting in for more or less than these investors got in at? For example, Munger, I think was at 226 for Baba. I got in at 225. It's at 224 now, but it's one of those things that I think you'll hold on to and will be a good investment over time. So yeah, this is just a really simple version. You could pop this out another row and add in Carl Icahn's portfolio, but wanted to just start here and keep building on the series that I'd started. Eventually, I'd like to get to a point where you're pulling all this information into one, kind of super sheet, because that's what I do personally. But if there's any questions or you like the content, feel free to like and subscribe or let me know your thoughts. So thank you again.